France now. Satirical paper Le Canard Enchaîné. It's got a secret recording of the former president, Nicolas Sarkozy. What's this about, Flo?
That's right. Let's take a look at the title because it's a good place to start. It says that Sarkozy was recorded without his knowledge. A microphone was hidden in the bushes. Now, in French, a bush is a buisson, but Patrick Buisson, was actually a former close aide of Nicolas Sarkozy. Right. And Le Canard Enchaîné says that he was the one that was doing this recording. Now, Le Canard publishes actually an extract from a recording that took place, a meeting that took place between Sarkozy, Buisson, and other aides on February the 27th, 2011, so when Sarkozy was president. It's not actually even a very important meeting, but it's very important that this secret recording is coming out, and that's because Le Point, a conservative newspaper, has accused Buisson in the past of being the one that was responsible for leaks of secret conversations that Nicolas Sarkozy had with various journalists. But Buisson has always said, no, he never did these recordings. But now that Le Canard Enchaîné has come out with this article today, he's come out with a communiqué saying, well, no, actually, yes, I did do some of these secret recordings. Yes, I did, but it was for my own personal use. He says that because he was an important aide, he couldn't take notes while he was talking to Sarkozy, so he had to record their meetings, and then he would listen to them and then destroy these recordings. He says these recordings were stolen and used, quote, for a perverse use. But so it's kind of a change in his story there, thanks to this article from Le Canard Enchaîné.
You never know when there could be a microphone, could even be in a bush. Moving on, a lot of focus, of course, on those municipal elections still coming up later this month.
That's right. Libération, the left-wing paper, really focuses on the Socialist Party's electoral strategy and says that the Socialist Party is playing with fire. And it's very critical of the Socialist Party for not having a clear nationwide voting guideline system. And according to Libération, this could really play into the far-right National Front's hands. Now, what Libération is focusing on is a case known as a triangulaire. Now, this happens in the second round if there's a three-man race between a candidate from the Socialist Party, from the opposition UMP party, and from the National Front party. Now, in France, there's something that's known as a pacte républicain. It's a deal that's been made between the center-left and the center-right that basically says that whichever candidate is most likely to lose will pull out of the race and sacrifice themselves in a way to block the extreme right. Now, Libération says that this is what happens in theory, but in practice, this pacte républicain has pretty much fallen apart over the years. And so in its editorial, it's really critical of this and says that at the local level, there are a lot of socialist candidates that say that they won't pull out of the triangulaire, even if there's a risk that the National Front could win. And that's why Libération says that the Socialist Party is really playing with fire. And it reminds politicians that politics is also about values and courage and not just personal ambition.
Still talking about the National Front, aren't you? Le Monde taking a bit of a microscopic look at the organisation.
That's right. In French, there's an expression called l'auberge espagnole. It's kind of the equivalent of the salad bowl or the melting pot. And there's actually a great film called The Auberge Espagnole by Cédric Clapiche. Now, it talks about a young French guy who goes to Barcelona on his Erasmus year. He ends up living with a British girl, an Italian guy, and a German guy. It's all about their hilarious cultural differences and what a happy European family they make. Now, why am I talking to you about this movie? Well, it's because Le Monde likens the National Front Party to an auberge espagnole. Basically, it draws together all sorts of different groups from the far right. For instance, you have fundamental Catholics, you have royalists, you also have just plain old xenophobes, and they all come together, according to Le Monde, under Marine Le Pen's happy umbrella in the National Front.
Film reviews with Flo Villeneuve. The Parisien, they're focusing on foreign investment here in France.
That's right. It's very odd front page I found for Aujourd'hui en France, Le Parisien. It's very alarming. It talks about how foreigners are taking over our businesses. Now, this comes after the Chinese car maker Dongfeng bought a 14% stake in the beloved French car maker Peugeot Citroën. But Aujourd'hui en France says that there are all sorts of other foreigners that are investing in French companies. And to quote the article, it says that these companies are symbolic. And so it tickles us a little bit that they're not completely French. So it's kind of a weirdly chauvinistic front page for Aujourd'hui en France today.
Talking of chauvinism, finally, L'Humanité, focusing on the biggest victims of austerity.
That's right. Austerity is very bad for women. That's on the front page of L'Humanité, the communist paper. Now, according to L'Humanité, this is because because of the crisis, more and more women are working part-time, they have lower wages, and because of all the austerity that's going on, there are also cuts in public services, social welfare, etc. Basically, Humanité says that women are the hardest hit by this liberal cocktail, as it calls us. And it reminds us of a pretty scary statistic. According to a recent poll, 1 in 4 French people believe it's important to give a priority to male employment in a time of crisis. So male employment, the rise of the far right, it's a great time to be in France.
Flo's enjoying it anyway. Flo filming over the French newspapers. Coming up for you, of course, we've got the very latest on Ukraine. We hope, in fact, to be speaking live to our correspondent, Rob Parsons, who is in Crimea for us. Plus, a year since Venezuela lost Hugo Chavez amid the violence. We report in Focus today on those for and against Nicolas Maduro and find out whilst his popularity has plummeted, he still has large-scale support. That's in the next 15 minutes.